Welcome to Worthy Ones, the video series where I take all the newest #1 comic books that I read for the current comic book week and deem them worthy or not worthy. I'm Mike Spider Slayer. Welcome back to Comic Book Corner 2.0. If you love me helping you make decisions on what comic books to buy, if you love daily comic book content, guys, consider hitting the subscribe button because I think you came to the right place. So before we get started, I gotta give a quick shout out to the sponsor of this video, which is Sidekick. I think this will help you with your comic book collection. What happens when you start a new box with too much empty space? Your books slide, they slouch, they flop, they bend, they crease, and now your books are ruined. But what's the solution? Well, pick up a Sidekick today. Be the hero of your comic collection. The Sidekick fits firmly in your short box to keep those comics upright and prevent them from falling. So guys, check out Sidekick today. There is a link in my description box below. This product is made in the USA. It offers free shipping, and if you use my promo code Slayer15, you'll also get 15% off. And also, if that is not good enough, guys, when you make a purchase for Sidekick, there is a portion of the proceeds go to Comic Book for Kids. So they are a proud partner of that charity. So guys, what are you waiting for? Check out Sidekick to protect your comic book collection. John Constantine, Hellblazer, Dead in America. This is issue 1. This is a 32-page comic for $5. The writer in this book is Simon Spurrier. The artwork is done by Aaron Campbell. I think the artwork definitely fits the tone of this book. It has that horror element, supernatural element. There's different tones based off of, certain things that are happening in this comic book. And, it looks pretty good. If you are a horror fan, I think you might definitely appreciate the artwork in here. Now, when it comes to John Constantine, I'm not a huge fan of the character. I really don't know that much of the character, and every once in a while I like to try out books to see if there is a book that's going to really get me into the character. But unfortunately for me, this book is not worthy, just for the pure reason that I couldn't get into it. I'm not saying that this is a poorly written book in any shape or form. It's just the character, for some reason, I just can't get attached to, and I can't really, pinpoint it. But with John Constantine here, he's cheated death once again. His body is slowly decaying because his heart is not beating. So he's got to figure out, somehow, some way to, I guess, live again, right? And then we have, his son who is, on the run in America and things like that. And it's just a book that I just kind of felt a little bit lost because I don't know anything about these characters in this comic book, right? So at the end of the day, I can't really give this book a grade because it's just I don't believe that it's fair, So you guys will have to put the grade in the comments below on what you thought of Hellblazer. But if you're a John Constantine fan, I would say pick this book up. This is just something that I think maybe fans have been waiting for quite a while. Cable issue 1. This book is $5 for 25 pages of actual story, okay? The writer of this book is Fabian Nicieza, and the artwork here is Scott Eaton. The artwork is good. I liked it. I thought, Cable looks rough and rugged, and in the beginning of this comic, there was lots of action, great fighting, and it was off to a great start, right? And during this time, when it comes to Cable, he's after rescuing his younger self. So during this whole Fall of X thing, his younger version of himself wound up getting captured, and this is the mission that he goes on. So this is the way that this ties into Fall of X, because again, Orchis captures younger version of Cable, okay? Now, when he rescues him, they constantly interact with each other. They go on a mission together, they're eating sandwiches together and things like that. And I'm like, how is that even right? Because if you interact with your younger self? Like, doesn't that conflict with what's going to happen to your future self? It's just weird, you know? It's like kind of like that Back to the Future effect, right? It just didn't make sense to me. Then come across this guy who's like puts graffiti all over places and whatnot. You wind up getting to see Cable telling younger Cable all these different types of stories, and then they come across this bad guy at the end of the day who like transforms into like a Hulk-like character, and his name is the Grey Gargoyle, and I'm just like, yeah, this book is not worthy. I don't know how you really tie this all into the Fall of X. It's a very loose tie-in. I guess it's because, again, young Cable was the one that was captured by Orchis, and that's how you can tie this in to the whole Fall of X stuff. At the end of the day, this is a very forgettable comic book that you don't need in your comic collection to understand what's going on in the whole Fall of X thing, as it's confusing enough as it is, and it's just a book with some pretty good artwork. So at the end of the day, yeah, I'm gonna give this book a D. I did not enjoy this book at all, man. Here we go. I think this is the book that you guys have been waiting for. This is Jackpot. This is issue 1, 28 pages, $5, written by, I think, newcomer Celeste Brofman, artist done by Eric Gapster, and the colorist here is done by Edgar Delgado. I'm bringing out the colorist here because he brought this artwork to life. I thought the characters' facial expressions looked good. I thought there was pretty good action scenes in this comic book. I thought he really did a nice job at bringing everything to life, like I said. This is a great opening page here. So the artwork is actually pretty solid, in my opinion. Great Spider-Man part right here where he's fighting the armadillo, okay? Let's talk about this story. Okay, so when it comes to Mary Jane having powers and this comic in general, right, this book had its back against the wall from the start. A lot of people don't like Mary Jane having powers. A lot of people don't like her, you know, being a hero. A lot of people don't like her being broken up from Peter. They want the marriage together. For example, Ultimate Spider-Man, right? So when you put out a one-shot that ties into gang war, you better write something damn good that's going to get you into, you know, Mary Jane being a hero, okay? Now, let's talk about the gang war aspect of this comic first. When it came to the gang war thing, this book opens up with stupid Paul. Like, who the hell wants Paul? Again, that's another thing, how this book, you know, has it not going for it, is that character right there. They're in therapy with each other, obviously dealing with, you know, the situation at hand with, you know, the loss of their kids and their marriage and things like that. And then all of a sudden the gang war erupts between two factions, and all of a sudden Mary Jane just inserts herself because she wants to be a hero and she wants to help people. It's like, come on, dude, is that your reason of being a superhero? It's not really explained, right? She's just like, I'm good, I'm a good person, and this is something that I should have always done, you know? And then Paul goes to a freaking TV store and he like blares up the freaking speakers, and all of a sudden it gets rid of all the distracts all the bad guys. Come on, really? Like, seriously. And then all of a sudden you wind up getting to see Mary Jane in her suit for the first time. She actually has a real life suit now, and the explanation on her powers are, since they were so unstable before, right, Paul puts an inhibitor on it, so now there's nothing at stake for Mary Jane to where she could possibly die. If you read the Jed McKay series, right, if you get 3 skulls, she could possibly die. If you get the lucky 7, you hit the jackpot, your powers are through the roof. And there's just nothing at stake. And the writer here doesn't really do a great job at explaining the power. She gets a random cherry, a diamond, and a horseshoe, and some weird freaking plant comes out of her freaking gauntlet. And it's not even explained really how these powers actually work. And the big thing about it is it seems like Mary Jane never went through the trials and tribulations of being a hero. It's like she's been doing this forever. She winds up going against the Armadillo. She winds up going against all the gang war people. She does a battle with Spider-Man, and Spider-Man is kind of like, hey, MJ, what's up? You know, giving away the secret identity aspect of it. And it just seemed weird. And in all cases, the scene with Peter and MJ was forced because it's like, well, we have to put them together because it's a Mary Jane book, and it wouldn't be the same if Peter wasn't in it. So it just seemed kind of forced. And then they got time to sit there and discuss shit between She-Hulk and freaking Mary Jane. And then all of a sudden Electro comes along, female Electro, and you see this battle. Nothing for nothing. This, I think her name's Francine, right? If I remember right. She's been Electro for quite a while. She has control of her powers. She knows what she has to do. And it's just dumb. Paul is like an oracle type of character guiding Mary Jane, and it just did not make sense. I did not like this comic book. It doesn't progress the character any further when it comes to using her powers or being a hero or going through these trials and tribulations. It just made her seem like an Adam Eve like knockoff character. There's no point in MJ being a hero. I just did not like this book whatsoever. It's definitely disappointing in all levels. It doesn't need to exist. I need to know how you guys think of this, what you guys think of this comic. It is definitely not a worthy comic in any stretch of the imagination. You should pass this book up by far. If I grade this comic, I have to give it for a story. I have to give it an F-, right? If I could. But the artwork was halfway decent, so I'm going to give it an F. It fails on so many levels. Just avoid this comic whatsoever. When it comes to a gang war tie-in, this was an absolute joke. Cobra Commander issue 1. This is a 40-page comic for $5, written by Joshua Williamson. The art here is done by Andrea Molina. The artwork is good. Obviously, we've seen lots of preview pages for this book, especially if you read other Skybound books. I even love the opening page right here as we get to see the little file on Cobra Commander. And again, we get to see some other artwork here that maybe you haven't seen before. I don't want to show too much because I don't want to spoil the book for you. And my biggest question when it came to this comic book was, is this book going to dive more into the origin of Cobra Commander when he was in Cobra Law? Now, some people may have never watched G.I. Joe the movie before, and what that is it kind of shows you where Cobra Commander came from, right? And in this comic book, you get to see Cobra Law, the place where he actually came from, and an accident that he experienced, and why he is kind of sent out to become Cobra Commander and lead Cobra, okay, which is kind of cool. There is definitely some dark hidden secrets that he's been hiding from people, and you wind up getting to see that in this comic book. And when you read it, it definitely ties into the whole Energon universe, and my jaw dropped, and I'm just like, oh shit, this is so good. I love what Skybound is doing with this Energon universe. This book is so worthy. So if you want to see where Cobra Commander came from, if you want to see what happened to a particular Transformer, this is going to be the book for you. This is so good between Cobra Commander, Duke, Transformers, Void Rivals that kicked everything off. This book is another A+ comic book for me. This book is awesome. I love villains, so seeing origin stories of a character, the journey on maybe how he became that character is just so intriguing to me. So I cannot wait to see where the book continues to go. Avengers Twilight. This is issue 1. This is a 48-page comic for $6. Chip Zdarsky is the writer. Daniel Acuna does the artwork in this comic. This book is definitely like a dystopian type of future. This is a like Kingdom Come like Dark Knight Returns type of style of book, as we have all of our Avengers that we've all known and loved for years and years are all a bunch of old farts. And we wind up getting to see like the next generation of, you know, heroes in a way. Things all seem to be all perfect on the outside, but on the inside, things are not quite right, okay? And really, that's what this story is about. We wind up getting to see Steve Rogers in this comic book as he's an old man. The super soldier serum is no longer in his system. We wind up getting to see Luke Cage in this comic book as he was obviously once the mayor, but he's just an old man that has a group of defenders around him to protect him. You see Matt Murdock in this book. We wind up seeing Iron Man that has a son. I think his name is like James, if I'm not mistaken. And again, things seem all hunky-dory on the outside, but things are not quite as it seems, okay? I don't want to spoil too much of this comic book, but we wind up getting to see Steve Rogers get possibly recruited for a particular mission, and he gets that super soldier serum inserted into his body again. The journey between the first page and the second page, or between the last page, is absolutely phenomenal. This book is worthy. I say pick this book up. I am so happy that this book did not come out during the week of Ultimate Spider-Man, because this book in very many ways would have been overshadowed by that. So they were smart to wait a week for this to come out. Me and my buddy Jay at the comic shop talked about this. So I am so excited for this book, where it is that it's going, and who are the real bad guys, who are the real good guys here. And yeah, this is awesome. I think, like, when it comes to Chip Zdarsky, I think this is where his focus was besides Batman, right? So can't wait to see where this book goes. I'm going to give this one an A+ as well. Great story. I didn't expect it to be as good as it was. Definitely worth the money. Go ahead and check it out. So there are my thoughts on the newest number ones that I read for the comic book week. I want to know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you're looking for more content, just click on it right there, man. Just keep watching the channel all day if you want. And of course, guys, remember, support those local comic shops. Keep buying, keep collecting, but always read your comics. Guys, I'll see you real soon. Take care.